Unfortunately, we're going to have to take a break from the Nefesh Hachaim until after Pesach. This doesn't, the Zmanim just don't work out. But so let's just sum up a little bit, and I'd like to share with you something which is a bit of a summary of what we've been learning. The main thing of the last parak that we were learning is that there are really three parts to the delivery system of the neshama. So there's, and Nefesh Hachaim brings a mashal to a glass blower, if you recall. So there's he who blows the glass, there's the wind, the pipe that the goes through, the wind goes through, and then there's the glass, which is the makabel, the nifal of the entire procedure. And so too, says the Nefesh Hachaim, so we have nefesh, ruach, neshama. And although the nefesh, which was the parallel to the glass, is not the neshama is over here on the other end of the pipe, which is HaKadosh Baruch Hu vayipach ba'apav nishmas chayim. So there's a whole delivery system. Nevertheless, there is, as he points out, a chibur. So if you say, where is the neshama? Where is the neshama, right? So the answer is the neshama is in the world of Bria, the neshama is in the world of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Neshama came from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Where's the chibur to the neshama? So then it goes derech the ruach into the nefesh, and we have this chibur of the neshama. That's pretty good. Chibur to the neshama is also something, but it's not, technically speaking, it's not the neshama per se. The neshama per se is coming to us through these three stages. We learned last time a lot about the specific, the Nefesh Hachaim says the exception to the rule is Moshe Rabbeinu, because Moshe Rabbeinu got more neshama than the rest of us. So how does that, in other words, so that brings out, which I pointed out from the Rambam last time, just a quick chazara, the Rambam in Shmona Prakim tells us that there are, what the real mechanism here is that there are something called mechitzos. We learned together a little bit, and I spoke out, mechitzos v'inyanehem, that not talking about mechitzos of Hilchos Shabbos or mechitzos of the shul, talking about the mechitzos in Shemayim, that basically, if we're the makabel from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so he compares the relationship between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is a very close relationship, with vilonot, as he puts it, vilonos, in between. So that vilon area, if you will, is the same parallel to the ruach area. Remember, nefesh, ruach, neshama, naran. And what happens is that the more in his mashal, the more the thicker the vilon, or the more vilonos there are, more curtains there are between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the less we can get the message of HaKadosh Baruch Hu clearly, the less nevuah we have. So says the Rambam. So what are these vilonos? These vilonos are midos ros, Rambam says. Kegoin hakas, v'hagaiva. These are all things that it's very hard to hear the clear message of HaKadosh Baruch Hu if you're so into yourself with gaiva, if you're so into yourself with worried about kavod or bakas. Kas is also or I spoke about last on Sunday. I spoke about denial in general. So denial is not a river in Egypt, as I always say. Denial is a putting a mechitza around myself, that I'm not seeing the emes outside of myself. I'm not seeing a person could be the person becomes enough of a thug, let's say. You can kill somebody in cold blood. Like, where's your heart? Where's your regesh? The answer is, who knows? It's probably there somewhere, but it's so concealed, and there's so many chatzitzos, and there's so much what I'm calling denial, that denial is a survival mechanism, which allows us to live in this world. So what you really have is trying to balance the world that we live in with the world that we come from, and it's not such an easy thing to connect. But the more that we can connect, the more we have not only a kesher with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but the word of HaKadosh Baruch Hu becomes even clearer. The Rambam says that in the words of Chazal, this is called Aspaklaria Me'ira. Aspaklaria Me'ira, that Moshe Rabbeinu had, that there's a certain clarity. Aspaklaria Lashon spek, right? Like it's not a Hebrew word. That's Aspaklaria is a Latin word, Greek word. So the Moshe Rabbeinu was the Anov Mikol Adam, right? Me'al Pnei Kol Adam, which Chazal say means throughout all the generations. There's never going to be somebody who's as much of an Anov. It's not that he was the biggest genius necessarily, right? Maybe he was. It's not like he was even the most spiritual of people. I'm sure he was. But the Nekuda was that he was an Anov. And Anav, or Chazal, took all the wonderful mythos of Moshe Rabbeinu and said that, what was goring the Aspaklaria Me'ira is that he was an Anav Mikol Adam. Anav is the pshat that you remove all of the klipos, all of the chatzitzos, all of the vilonos. Ma ani, alachnu ma.
I'm sure we translate as humble, but that's probably not the correct translation.
I think humble's one piece of it. But
was his middle chassid to Kodesh Baruch Hu, this Anava, or maybe some Chiddush? Was he chassid who we understand toward us?
I think it was him. It was him, and it related to everything. He was not self-important. So if he was not self-important, there was no such thing as kas. If he was kohes on Korach, that was for Kvod Hashem. It was an Adam Mikol Adam. Very interesting. Agav, ironic, I guess, that the one accusation that Korach found to make about Moshe is that he's a Balgaiva. Lama tislasu al kal Hashem. Who do you think you are already? So that's which I pointed out is always like this in life, that actually the one thing that we excel in the most is the thing that people will accuse us of being violating. It's just a very interesting irony of life. But the real shot, I mean the psychological shot of it is that it's very difficult to tell the difference between a real Anav and a real Balgaiva. And in between you can tell the difference, but when you're two extremes, you really can't tell the difference because their halhaga will be very, very similar. There's like a mushal, let's say somebody's hush of a person who walks in the room, everybody stands up. So if he's a Balgaiva, hey, why did you stand up? That's the Balgaiva. If he's a shtickle on, if he's working on himself, no, please sit, please be seated, you don't have to stand up for me. But he's also misyaches to the fact that everybody's standing up for him, but he's mevater. And then there's a Madrega Moshe Rabbeinu where he doesn't notice if people stand up or didn't stand up. Is not something which is part of his of what he's interested in altogether. So what happens? The Moshe Rabbeinu walks into the room, the same as the Balgaiva walks into the room. Everybody stands up and he's good with it. He doesn't have that sort of a chitzoniistic. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying that there are different madregas. So very similar. It says that so Korach saw it as lama tislasu al kal Hashem. You're walking in. Why aren't you saying to everybody, still, everything's okay? No, I don't need any covet. It wasn't an issue. The covet wasn't an issue with him. So it came out. It could look to the crooked eye as somebody's a Balgaiva. Ad kedei kach, let's say something a little bit provocative. The other taina that Korach had on Moshe Rabbeinu was that the chashdu aleishas ish. Moshe Rabbeinu's face was shiny. They couldn't even look at him. But chashdu aleishas ish. It seems like such an incredible taina, almost like being a Balgaiva. The two things that Moshe Rabbeinu was so shamur in, that's what he's tiny. But I think there's something similar also. There's the person who's a novel, and he's involved with every Eishes Ish, all kinds of connections with Eishes Ish. And then the person who's working on himself, and he's, no, stay away, and I want to talk to you, and this, and he's walking around with his eyes closed. Good, that's a high madrega. And then there's a person who doesn't even notice. There's even a higher Madrega who doesn't even notice, so it comes out like he's just so above it all that it's just not even an issue. So it comes out that the one who's so medactic in Sneas is going to have a similar behavior to the person who's not medactic at all. And the guy in between is going to look like the other. So it's just such a interesting irony, if you will. The point is, though, the Moshe Rabbeinu had no chatzitzos. Kimat no chatzitzos. In other words, so since he had no chatzitzos between him and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he got onav mikol adam. Nefesh Hachaim says later on in Shaar, the Nefesh Hachaim says that whoever has the anivus of Moshe Rabbeinu can also have the Torah of Moshe Rabbeinu. It's you don't have to. It goes according to how much onav you are. He gives a mushal to a kli. He says if you take a cup, so the cup can be the same on the outside. But how much water can you put into it? It depends on the thickness of the vessel itself. So if the anivus he gives a mashal is a very, very thin layer between the water and the world. So it's kimat not there. Since it's kimat not there, you can put a lot of water in there. And in the case of Moshe Rabbeinu, you can put a lot of Torah in there because it's a very, very thin klipa. Same thing. It's all the same thing. It's this chatzitza, this vilod, this klipa. Whatever you want to call it, it's something which is standing between me and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And if this is so thin that you can hardly see it and it doesn't even have a color, I have a spaklaria hameira. I have an aspaklaria hameira. I have a very, very clear lens as to see HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So that's why the Rambam says that Moshe Rabbeinu, when he reached this madrega, which is dafka by the luchos sheniyos, that he reaches madrega, he was comfortable to say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hareini na es kavodcha. So I got rid of all the mechitzas, yes? So if I got rid of all the mechitzas, let me see what you look like. This was the one, it had to have been the most spiritual connection between man and God in all of history. This more than Yeshayahu, more than Adam Arisha, was this connection at this moment on Har Sinai after the Luchos Shniyos. And Moshe Rabbeinu said, okay, we're working Ruchnius, more. Hashem, Kol Rachum, V'chadnu Nerech Apayim. I'm understanding all your midos I'm understanding. This is an unbelievable thing. So, Haredi Das Kvodcha, let me get a little more Ruchnius, let me just see HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And here you have a case where Moshe Rabbeinu is asking for Ruchnius and Hashem says no. Lo Yirani Ha'adam V'chai. You still have one chatzitza, still have one klipa, you still have one mechitza, one vilon.
There is physically mechitza.
You're alive.
Yeah.
You're a person. Soif kol soif. Bishagam, I said last week. Bishagam, which is the gematria Moshe, the Gemara says, who basar. Bishagam, who basar. Soif kol soif, you're fleishiks, yeah? Like, so there's not, you can't, just, I feel like saying this while I'm here. Excuse me. Saw something very beautiful in the writings of Rav Shamshon Rafal Hirsch, and he says that Moshe Rabbeinu asks HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hareini na es kvodcha, let me see you. And he says that Hashem didn't really say no. He said, Hine makoim iti b'nikras hatzur. And he guided him, Sakoisi es kapi alav, and come. Hirsch says that he didn't say no. He said, you think that the ultimate madrega that a person can reach is to see me, to stand against me. It's not the ultimate madrega. Makom iti b'nikar satsur, the ultimate madrega is to see things the way I see them. Stand next to me. He didn't say no. He corrected him. You're standing in front of me, you're looking at me, I'm looking at you, this is not the derech. That's a derech, but the real derech is come over here. And if you come over here, now you'll look at the whole world the way I see the world. Big gadol, you'll see the depth of the world, you see the depth of every person. You'll see the Tselem Elokim in every person. So it wasn't a no, it was a big yes. I'll give you, it was I saw these words from Rav Hirsch. I thought this is probably the biggest limud of the whole story. Makom iti b'nikras. You don't have to stand against God and see Him. You have to stand with Him, and see the world the way Hashem sees the world, not Him. Like Chanoich. With Hashem. So it's a new madrega. So this is the inyan of, again, it works with the Rambam also, Hirsch, because it means that there's a chatzitza if you're standing this way. So aspaklaria hameira was also the ability to see like Hashem sees, see with Hashem's eyes. That's.
What nikra tatzur? Where this is a specific place that has to
Geographically, you mean?
Like what's about that place that was so?
The point was it was a cave, the cleft of the rock, and from the cave you could not see anything around you. You were only able to stand and see. In other words, there was a cave or a tunnel vision. So what you're able to see was very, very limited. And that's the mashal of the Nikra Satzur.
Where is that?
More than that, I don't know. What went on in Harsida, I just know a little bit what the Hills.
Is there sorry, is there a
Connection? Yeah. Selah. Okay. Let's not get carried away because I'm not capable of very deep things. Let me take it. That's Moshe Rabbeinu, and that's what Moshe Rabbeinu saw, and that's the Vilonot, and that's the Aspaklaria Hami'ira. To go back to the Nefesh Hachaim, where we're talking about the Nefesh, which is us, Ruach, which comes to us, and the Neshama. So you don't want to have blockages in the pipe. That's the point. If you have blockages in the pipe, and what are those blocks? The blocks are a lack of anivus, and the lack of anivus.
say what before?
I would just say it again because I'm just something that it's become so clear to me, or clearer to me, I should say, in the last couple of years, that like it all comes down to kavod. You know how much. It all comes down to how much I'm worried about myself. You know, whether I'm going to talk lashon hara, whether I'm going to get koes, whether I'm going to get angry at people, whether I'm going to lord over people, whether I'm going to intimidate people and be a bully. And it all comes down to kavod. Kavod is a very very difficult avoda. And probably the more chashuv you are, the bigger the avoda. Like, you know, I mean, if you have nothing you deserve kavod for, so you don't have such a big avoda. But although people don't seem to think that. But it's, you know, dafka like Moshe Rabbeinu, who has arrived, if you will, at the highest level, had to get rid of his kavod and got rid of his kavod, and that's the person that could stand the nikra satzur. So the anivus becomes the yisoid ha-yisoidos of all of the midos. You see the things that bother us, if you come down to it, like what's really getting on my nerves? It's not really getting on my nerves. It's getting on my kavod. We call it nerves, lashon sagi nohar. It's really you're being pogay in my kavod. Somebody said something that offended me. You're pogay in my kavod. You know, why don't you? You know, so Moshe Rabbeinu didn't care about his kavod in a healthy way. In a healthy way. This is the ultimate of self-esteem. He saw himself above it all. Doesn't make any difference what anybody says. Let me go a step further in this. A little bit nogay. The parshi is also vayakil pekudei. So chashuv to not now leave shmos without thinking about this. What's brought from both the Gra and the Arizal say something very, very similar. They say that if you look at the Mishkan, there are three parts to the Mishkan. There's the Azara, the Kodesh, and the Kodesh HaKadoshim. And the deeper you go inside, not only the more halachas there are, but obviously the more kedusha there is, and the less gashmias there is. meaning you had in the outside Azara, you had the Shechita. If you would have gone into the the Azara of the Beis Hamikdash, Mizbeach HaNechoshes, a lot of animals, a lot of firewood. Looked like a big barbecue campsite. Holy, it was holy, but it was holy in the sense that we were taking all of Gashmias, and that was the makom that we're turning it into
You have
Ruchnis.
in this week's parsha, you have the Kior, which has from the mirrors. It's the Iker Gashmias.
Gashmias, can't get more Gashmias than the Kia, right? Marois Hatzoivos.
Right.
You go into the inner chamber, no animals there. Mizbach Hazov, Keteris, Samim, Reach, which was a much higher level. So as you go in more, and the Gaon says that the Arizal, I didn't see the Arizal, I did see the Gra. The Arizal says the same thing, that the outside, like it's like life, it's like a person. That there's the outside and there's the inside, and then there's the in and inside, 3 places. Kippur, Kohen Gadol, nobody, very very pristine and very very pure, and nobody else goes in there. So we have, says the guy, with us we have like our ma'asim mitzvahs, our ma'asim, the goof, the stuff we do, and then we have the inner more part, which is the lave, and the innermost part, which is the neshama. 3 madregas. And it's enumerated. This is Mefurish in the Zohar Parshas Truma. That the Kalim of the Beis Hamikdash, the Kalim of the Mishkan, each one represented a different part of the Adam. It even says in Chazal, it says that the Mizbeach HaNechoshes, the Gemara says, that the Mizbeach HaNechoshes was Keneged Komas Adam, it was Gimel Amos, just like an average person is Gimel Amos. It actually looked like a person. It was created to look like a person. But every Keli has different has a different correlation and correspondence to the mamash, the body of a person, until you get to a more pristine place, which is the place of Regesh, which is the lave, until you get to the most pristine place, which is the place of the neshama. Very, and so here's a thought. It's not my thought, but I have no idea whose it is. I just don't remember. But here's the Yakusa that if you look at the Mishnah at the end of Chagiga, so the Mishnah says, let's see inside. This is the end of Chagiga, 3rd paragraph. The Mishnah says, Kol HaKelim, this is Lashon the Mishnah. This is the last Mishnah Chagig. Kol HaKelim Shahayu B'Mikdash Ta'unen Tvila. They need Tvila. You have to title. Even when they brought the Mishkan over the Yarden into Eretz Yisrael, they had to toivel everything. And everything in the Beis Hamikdash from time to time of Ezra, they toiveled everything. They toiveled everything in a mikvah. They had to toivel the whole, all the kelim of the Beis Hamikdash. So there's a Mishnah. Kol ha-kelim shayu v'mikdash te'unin tevila chutz mimizbeach hazav u'mizbeach hanachoshes. The mizbeach, that's this week's parsha, right? Mizbeach Hazav u'Mizbeach HaNechoshes, they don't need Tevilah. Even though they're Kalim, the Rambam calls them the Kalim of the Beis HaMikdash. It's not something that wasn't the Kalim. So the Mishnah says, Mipnei shehein kekarka. At the end of the day, they're made out of earth, and the earth was mitzupa o bechoshes o bezav. Mitzupa. It was gold plated, copper plated, but it was earth, and earth that we know is not makabel tumah. Divrei Rebbe Lazar. The Chachamim Maimrim mipnei shehein mitzupin. Because it's tzipui, because it's so what's
Coated.
what?
Coated?
It's coated, yeah, plated.
That's a reason to need a title.
So is that a reason to toivel or not a toivel? The Mishnah is unclear.
Seems to be back to the same.
What's the machlokes here? Let's just talk it out here. Halacha. Let's just take halacha. You don't have to toivel, says the Mishnah, the mizbeach, either mizbeach. So the Chachamim say it's karka. You don't toivel karka. There's no idea to toivel in karka, and that's Rebbe Lazar. And the Chachamim say mipnei shein mitzupin. So the Gemara has a machlokes here. Does he agree or disagree? Is he saying that no, I disagree? You do have to toivel it. So we'll say if it's mitzupa, or do we learn? There's two gerusas in the Gemara. Or do we learn that no, he's agreeing, but he's saying the reason is different. He's agreeing that you don't have to toivel. That's already menashamayim. You don't toivel. See this. You don't toivel the mizbeach. The question is, do you not toivel the mizbeach because of its adama on the inside, or do you not toivel the mizbeach because it's mitzupa, because it's gold on the outside? Or you can learn, bear with me for a moment, that Rebbe Lazar holds you don't toivel because it's adama, and the Chachamim hold you do toivel it. That's how others learn. You do toivel it because it's not really adama, so if it's mitzupin. Two ways to learn this Mishnah. I just want to explain something here. That in all the kalim of the Beis HaMikdash, so it's like the different parts of a body. If you look in the Zayar Chadash, Parshas Truma, you have an actual enumeration of which keli is connected to which part of the goof. It's a study, not for now. The different parts of a keli is a keli. Keli is a keli. Take a keli like this one here, so you can use it for kedusha, and you can mamash use it for tumah. Amos? They're both true. You can't. It's not a debate. Is it good or is it bad? Depends what you use it for. This is not a new kind of a phenomenon. The same issue was when when Gutenberg invented the press. Same issue. You could use it for good. You could use it for bad. And by the way, all the Gedolim mastered the press. Now where would we be today if we didn't have a printing press?
Well, why did they answer it?
Why they asked it? Because it was used for pornography and for Christian Bibles. That was all they could think of. It's very interesting that at the beginning of the press, there was no such thing as a story, except for the story that a storyteller would tell. There was no such thing as a novel or a storybook or this was the press. Somebody's going to write it down, right? How are you going to do it? So you needed a press, or you needed a sort of something to get the story around. Then they started using it for medical information. That was the next use of the press. As I've studied the history of the press, it's something which interests me. But they started using it for medical, to share medical knowledge, different pathologies that would be there. And then finally it was, hey, what about Torah? And the Tumen Kli became the Makara Kedusha. By the time I get to the Vilna Shas, they toiveled the pieces of the Shas every day, and they toiveled themselves. They took the lead that they would use to put the letters on the Vilna Shas, and they toiveled them. So this was something turning from kedusha from tuma, if you will, or to kedusha, but it's really not tuma or kedusha. It's like every other kli in the world. And same thing is like our body is full of kalim. You have a pet, so that's makbil to one of the kalim of Beis Hamikdash. So you have a pet. A pet is a keli. You could use your pet for beautiful, beautiful things, and you can use the pet for dvarim tameim, ki yadua. And this gets down to our mouth, to our nose, to our ears, to everything. The nose is hard to sin with, which is important because reach, it's very difficult to, because that's the place of the neshama, yipach ba'apav, nishmas chayim. But by and large, you can use your hands for kedusha, you could use your hands for tumah. That's the kalim, and that's the mishkan. All the kalim in the mishkan was all about kalim. So kalim, which is makbil to the kalim or to the avar of a person. By the way, the Nefesh Hachaim, if you'll recall, we learned together in Parak Dalet, Shaar Aleph, Parak Dalet, is Myrich on this, and he said that they looked at the people and they said, Heichel Hashem, Hema. We always say, V'asali mikdash v'shachanti b'say cham, b'say kol echad v'echad, mikla Yisrael. That the asali mikdash shachanti b'say cham, should have said b'say chay, loy namar b'say cham. I don't think that's a chazal anywhere, but I don't think so. It's not a Gemara. As far as I know, it's not a chazal. But it is, even though it's extremely well quoted, but it is part of Jewish tradition. Not everything has to be written. So it's part of our tradition is that we have a sort of a mikdash within us. What does it mean? It means that we have kalim. The Mishkan has kalim. Just like the kalim of the Mishkan can be used for tahara and they can be used for tumah, so too is with the kalim of a person can be used for tahara and can be used for tumah. Interestingly, in Yanenu, that the mizbeach is connected the neshama. Mizbeach hazav is connected the neshama. So interesting, and that doesn't need tevilah because it's not makabel tumah. Means that Binyanenu, that l'chayra, the part of us which is connected to the ruach, which is connected to the neshama, the yipach ba'ap of nishmas chayim, is not a part that goes bad. It goes bad. It can only be. It might go along with the goof, but it's not a keli in the sense that it could be used for tara and for tumah. I've often quoted the Maral. The Maral says that you always find makos, 40 makos chaser achas, because there's 40 yomim keneged yitziras havlad. The Gemara says that's why you have 40 makos. But what's the chaser achas? Why don't you just say 39? Why are you saying 40? Because there's yitziras havlad is 40 makos. But the Gemara says in Nida Daf Lamed that b'yoyim harboyim from conception, b'yoyim harboyim nizrak boy neshama. So it's really, you get makas because you violated your whole metzias of life, but what do you offer the neshama? The neshama got stuck here. The neshama got stuck. So the neshama did, so it's arboim chaser achas. Arboim chaser achas. So says the Maral and the Gur Aryeh on the pasuk arboim yakem. That's why it's arboim chaser achas. It's the goof minus the neshama. In our case, it's the goof minus the mizbeach. Because the mizbeach is the neshama, if you will. Think about it for a moment on a very basic level, which is, where I'm at. What do you do on the mizbeach? The mizbeach is not. It's a kli where you take. It's a kli of Mesiras Nefesh. It's a kli where you take something and you're makar v'et kulei l'Hashem. That's what the mizbeach is. You're taking the gashmius, you're giving up the gashmius. Anivus, remember we were just talking about anivus? Mizbeach is the ultimate in anivus. You're taking everything and you're surrendering it to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yitzchak went on the mizbeach. Kollel. It's Kollel Bais. So Kollel Hashem is the ultimate in Anivus. So that doesn't need Tahara. Why would you have to be Toivel that? It's Kulei Kodesh. It's Kollel Hashem. It can't become. It's not Makabel Tumah. It's not just a technical issue. Well, it's got Adama inside there. Mitzupah. We'll get to that in a second. But it's not like every other kli that who knows what the machshava was. Who knows? Maybe somebody took chapped a little bit of the wine for himself and was matama. Who knows what milim were said by the kohen? The mizbeach was not something that can become mizbeach atzmai. Can't once something's on the mizbeach and burning on the mizbeach, so it can't be makabel tumah. So they never had to title the mizbeach. Just for interest, Pashat of Shat the Mishnah, Pashat of Shat the Gemara should say, is that Rebbe Elazar holds that you don't have to title it, and the Chacham hold you do. That's the Pashat of Shat in at least one lashon in the Gemara. What does it mean? Think about it. The Rebbe Elazar says the Mizbeach is Adama. Let's look at the inside. What's really going on in the Mizbeach is really made out of Adama. Okay, it has fancy plating on the outside, but it's really made out of Adama. The Chachamim said, look, why are you looking on the inside? Look at the outside. It's mitzupah with zav and with choshes. It is coated. It is plated. So the real machlokas, Rebbe Elazar and the Chachamim, if there's a machlokas, is do you look at the inside or do you look at the outside? You see right. So let's take that Gemara. There's a whole bunch of Gemaras come to mind, but anytime you just said that one. Rabbi Gamliel said, "Called Talmud Sheino Toichoi Kibaroi." Gemara says he wouldn't let into his base matters. The Rabbi Gamliel is saying, "I'm an inside guy." But you're a mitzupah, you're gold plated, copper plated. This is all external stuff. Come into my base medrash, I'm interested in the pnim. Both Rabbi Gamliel and Rebbe Elazar were shmusi haya. They were considered to be from, have Shammai leanings. It was a very tough. It's a very tough thing. Do you know the famous, maybe the most famous machlekes in Shas between Rebbe Elazar and the Chachamim is Tanur Shalach Hanoi. So Tanur Shalach Hanoi, just the description Tosha says, was that on the outside it was smooth, and on the inside it had ribs, like an achanoi, So do you look at the outside? Do you look at the inside? Rebbe Elazar looked at the inside. Looked at the inside. The inside guy. And at the end, Rabbi Gamliel says in Gemara and Brachos that Lo l'chvoidi asisi, lo l'chvoid Abba, Beis Abba. I'm a son of Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, the son of Rabbi Gamliel. This is the Shalshalta de Gamliyosa. So I have to look at the Tocha Kibara. So that gufa was like a machlekes. How do you look at the person, if you will? There's two ways to see it. Let's put it in our language. When you're looking at the Tocho, you're looking at there's an idea here that if you look Tocho, it's like the third chamber of the Beis Hamikdash of the Mishkan. It's Kulei Kodesh. So since you're looking at Toicha, Rabbi Elazar says, what are you Toicha looking for? It's Tahar. It's not just that it's Adama, it's close to the ground. Adama represents Anoichi Ofer Ve'efer. It's the Anivos. It's not just that it's earthy. It's the Anivos. You're looking at the Toichai. Rabbi Elazar is the lenient one here. I see a neshama. I see a great kedusha. I see great depth. That it's mitzupah. Okay, like life is mitzupah. Gold-plated life. You have to do stuff. But I'm looking at the pneumius. So this was Rabbi Eliezer always looking at this pneumius. And if you say that the Chacham are arguing it with it, they're saying, look, sof kol sof, it's mitzupah. Or you could say, like the other Lashon, the Gemara, that the Chacham weren't disagreeing. They were agreeing. They were just saying the reasoning is different. It's not that the inside is Adama. That's not the Nakuda. By the way, the Rambam says this way, this Lashon, that's how he bears. The pshat is that all you're seeing in the chesroinus of people is tzipui. You're just seeing external, artificial gold, silver. It's not the essence of the person. So really they're saying the same thing. In other words, which is the mashrois of the Mishnah. That why are you looking at saying that you don't need a tefillah because it's mizbeach hadama, because there's a neshama inside? I'm saying you don't need a tefillah. It's really the same thing. Chachamim Oimrim, let's rephrase that and say, you know why it doesn't need a tefillah? It doesn't need a tefillah because all you're seeing that would require a tefillah is chitzonius. Why are you looking at the chitzonius? Don't look at the chitzonius. So, which maybe is what Rabbi Gamliel said when he said that, I'm also holding toichai, kibaroi, I'm also holding toichai, kibaroi, but it's a question of covet. So, Tachlis, why do I bring this in here? Because what we're really talking about is that Vayipach V'Ab of Nishmas Chaim. And let's pick up with this in Pardes Zion when we start again here after Pesach. That what we have a description is Elikai Neshama Shenosata B'Tahirei. Sof kol sof, the Neshama, which can only mean the end of the Neshama, the Nefesh of the Neshama, Tahirei. It's a davar tahar, and nothing can be mitaba that. It's always. It's always. The Neshama is Tahirei, Ata Varasa, Ata Yitzarta, went through Bria, went through Yitzira, Ata Nefachta Bi, Ata Mishamra B'Kir Bi, Ata Asid Litla Mimeni. You're not going to say, oh, you've contaminated the Neshama. A person can contaminate their kalim, their goof, and then you've made a koresh between the goof and the neshama. That's bad news for the bears.
What is within us, neshama? Neshama is within us?
The part of the neshama that's neshama shenosata bi. So the part of the neshama which is in us is called the nefesh. So
there's something, a connection to something.
Connection. So that connection to that very, very high place, the connection to the Rebbeinu Shalom himself, can never become tameh. It's the mizbeach. It's the mizbeach. And what Rebbe Eliezer is saying is that we have to look at the pnim. Always look at the pnim. It's inside. And the Chacham is saying also, okay, it's mitzvah on the outside, but it's, like they were feeling it's mitzvah on the outside, but let's look at the pnim. Okay, let's see him on the Zefra Chagiga. What?
Top.